affect your fertility as well. Okay? It's early in the morning, but we all know that semen is not just sperm. It also contains all the other fluids produced by the seminal fluid actually, produced by your prostate. How well is your prostate functioning? And if you're a woman, your fertility, it's crucial. But how much do you know about it? Many women nowadays are developing fibroids and other things that actually compromise their fertility, but they don't even know it. That's the whole point. So this morning, I'm proffering for you Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic because they are offering free screening for prostate and for fertility if you're a woman. Here's where you can locate them. Here in Accra at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. There's also Kumasi Kronomabwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrady Anaji State Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Esiama Nzema. If you'd like to call them, which I highly recommend you do, the numbers to call 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Well, it's just the start, though, of the news review, and I have the pleasure of getting on board to join the conversation. Maxwell Lukuto. Good morning, Max.
Good morning, Ben. How are you?
I am okay. I woke up really tired, really tired. This morning was a struggle, but I'm here. I hope you're having a maxi morning.
Yeah, I do. Let me say good morning to my people in Southtown. Unfortunately, the spillage of the Bagri Dam has affected us downstream here, and it's a challenge for most of my people who are into aquaculture. Let me say down from Tademe through Sokwete Flare, all the way to Chachukobe, Agbeve, and Amutinu. Their nets have been ravaged. Those who are into aquaculture, their cages have been moved. Some as far as 3-4 kilometers have been bundled together, some containing fish. My brother Dongazi has about 150 cages destroyed, and another brother Evans at Tademe also got a number of his cages destroyed. Decon Farms, same. And so it's not been too good. Individuals also have water flowing to their homes. My student from Anausukope cannot come to Sokwe to school or even to Anausukope itself for school because the wooden bridge with the crossover has been destroyed. There are a lot of issues even at Bekpo, Sonukpo, Gonu areas. And so generally it's not been too good for my constituents. And so let me use this opportunity to commiserate with them and to say that the Chamber of Aquaculture may want to come to the aid of these individuals who have lost as much as, Dongazi was telling me he's lost about as much as about 3 million Ghana cedis, and that is so huge. And the life of about 42 or 44 of his workers is still hanging in the balance. He's not too sure how he's going to get it through. Whether to go back, he's not too sure how soon they may even want to spill again. And so the money has not been too good since the weekend up to now. It's not been too good for my people down here in Southtown. And so once again, let me say my commiseration to all the people who have lost and those whose homes the floods have entered. I wish them all the best. We pray and hope that things will normalize very soon. So, Ben, that is the situation in my constituency.
Well, and it's a really sad development. We also know that that bridge, the Doli Bridge, which recently, collapsed,
yes.
and there was some makeshift solution, has collapsed again. And it's really become, because I always felt, and I reacted this way when guy in charge of Isaac Kofi J, brought it to my attention. And I just felt, wait, are we going to do it well, or is this just something to ensure that? And lo and behold, this happened. Quite a disastrous situation. Wipe, affected, over 1,500 people displaced. I don't even know what the latest is on that situation, but all of these are pretty worrying. In the Volta region as well, you see, the effect. It's really troubling, really, really troubling.
Yeah, very. And I saw the situation again yesterday where a very long trailer just got stuck or got an accident exactly on the bridge. What the MP said about some 2 days ago, nobody heeded it. And that's the situation we find ourselves. It's like government doesn't listen to anybody. They are all knowing. and everything they think and do, they think that nobody else can correct them. And yesterday, you had to find people carrying children at their back, kneeling down and crawling under these vehicles to be able to cross. It's so pathetic, and it looks like there is no DC, there's no NADMO, there's no president, there's no minister of roads. They only go and tout whatever they have not done, hit their chest, walk away, and you come back to complain, nobody listens to you. And we are in the mess every day, and nobody seems to be listening to anybody. They only come and speak English, walk away, and you are left to your fate. It's unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. NADMO is not coming to the aid of anybody. When you speak to them, they tell you they don't have anything in their stores. They can't give anything. They can't. It's just like autopilot. So they go there at the end of the month, they take their salary, and there's no work to do. And we are all left in the balance. It's so unfortunate.
Well, hopefully some assistance comes in that situation. But let's take a quick look, starting with the Daily Graphic newspaper this morning. I just want to see whether I can get... okay, so here we go. The Daily Graphic newspaper for this morning, some of the headlines, it says, hope for kidney patients. And you know, in recent times, there's been a lot of talk about those. In fact, we have a dialysis crisis, docu that we've put together, a series that we've put together that we are highlighting as far as that situation is concerned. And we have something coming up this weekend. Local producers pledge infusions for dialysis. It's become so pathetic, that situation. And we thank God it was highlighted recently in that protest. And all of us are coming on board because, trust me, the sort of sums, even before Kolibu had spoken of that illegitimate increment, which was scrapped, it's been really difficult for people, getting dialysis. And now, with all these hurdles, well, let's pray for better times and work towards that. GTech suspends accreditation of new programs for public universities, and high attrition rate poses danger to education. 10,000 teachers relocate to the UK this year. Dr. Adaipoku says so. 10,000. Enact strong laws to combat terrorism, President tells Commonwealth parliaments. Well, I will say this. It's not just strong laws that will combat terrorism. It's also good governance, good leadership. If you lead well, some of these things will be few and far between because the people together supports the system, the democracy that we have. But if the leadership is, or the misleadership is what it is, if it is shambolic, well, you give room for some such elements. And not surprising that across the sub-region, Ghana, Nigeria, and other places, at least in Ghana, insurgency is not here, though it has been very close to us. But in Nigeria and other places, it is rife, and there's a reason all of that is happening. But let me just highlight a bit of this bit from the kidney patients, and then I'll let you reflect on these bits, including the high attrition of teachers. Today is World Teachers Day. I don't know whether you're aware of that. And we're talking about 10,000 teachers that have, relocated to the UK only this year. So local pharmaceutical manufacturers say they are willing to manufacture the infusions and fluids needed for dialysis to reduce the cost of treatment of renal failure and its complications by up to 20%. The Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association of Ghana said its members could produce to meet the local demand for medical supplies, at least for a time period. Well, any quick reflections on that? Kidney disease and dialysis, what Mr. President says, enact strong laws to combat terrorism, and the high attrition rate, which is posing a danger to education. 10,000 teachers relocate to the UK this year alone. Today is World Teachers Day. Any quick thoughts?
Yeah, we spoke about this dialysis and renal issue last week, and today we are here again. Like I said, it looks like everybody does whatever pleases him or her. It has come to light that the management of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital did not seek clearance or approval from anybody, not from the ministry, not from Parliament. They decided to unilaterally implement whatever they deem fit and necessary. And unfortunately, this is the situation we are seeing in the arbitrary increment, which has affected, I hear, about 14 patients who died. The issue of dialysis is very critical because usually you find that people are inactive. They are not, most of them have lost their businesses and their jobs. They can't go back to work. And so their finances are always challenged. And this increment has caused a lot of damage to most of them. Even the original fee of 380 was a challenge. And so when this happened, a lot of people have died. I am particularly happy about the support Mr. Eric Kutoche of Sky, is this Sky Blue or Sky View? I think I always confuse. Has always been supporting for the past 6 years and has spent to set up a kidney transplant center in the country, one in the whole of the West African sub-region. And so I am so grateful to him thinking of these patients, and I pray and hope that it comes to pass. And I'm also happy that the pharmaceutical companies are thinking about doing and manufacturing these fluids and other things that will help the dialysis process. So I pray and hope that in due course, when Mr. Eric Kutoche sets up this center, and then the pharmaceuticals also are able to do these things.
Maxwell, we're losing you a bit.
It will reduce the clarion call the insurance scheme to also absorb dialysis as part of its treatment for those who are under the National Health Insurance Scheme. If all these things are combined, they come to pass, they're going to help to a very large extent to relieve these people of the challenges they are going through every day. And so it's my prayer that this happens. And so we only have to pray and supporting.
Any reflections on the other stories? Hello, Max. Maxwell, can you hear me? Okay, it appears we've lost Maxwell for a bit. We'll try to reconnect with Maxwell Lukuto, the NTC's parliamentary candidate elect for South Tongue. Can you hear me now, Maxwell?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. What are your reflections on the teachers' bit and what Mr. President is saying?
It's a bad situation we are facing. We have had this with the nurses. It's not done with. And now we are thinking about and talking about the teachers. I remember in the early 90s, we had this similar experience where a lot of our teachers exited to Nigeria, Lagos, to go teach. And the effect we have had in Ghana has been very dire. And so now
did you say did you say 90s? Because as far as I know, 80s, even in the 80s,
80s.
Yes,
80s, yes.
In the 80s it was happening. Right.
Yes, early 80s, yes. And it's about happening again in Ghana, and I'm sure that it's not the best situation we find ourselves in. Teachers are suffering. I heard your documentary yesterday, bits and pieces of it, and the teachers said that they don't need much. The only thing they needed was increment in their salary. And so once their salaries can be enhanced and increased, I'm sure that the urge to move away will not be there that much. And so, like we always say, just look a little towards their direction and then do what they wish or they want. And they will be kept in here. Not everybody wants to travel outside. I, for one, would not want to travel outside to go and do any work for whatever amount, but there are people who want to go. Even the difference in their salary will be 500 cedis or 1,000 cedis. And so for me, it has to be looked at. The nurses issue, we are playing the hospital as if we have produced so much and we are even ready to export. The teachers have started. And so for me, let us sit again at the round table. It's not always about the licensure exam and all the challenges and the difficulties we put in their way. After all this, the salaries are not enhanced and we still have troubles with them. And so let's look at this before it becomes very terrible. For instance, to say that about 10,000 of them have sought clearance to leave the country is very alarming. And the earlier we look at it,
it's not that they have left. Yes, they have left already. They have left.
Yeah, so that means that in the period of a year, we have about 10,000. And so if that repeats again in the next 5 years, what are we going to get? I don't know how much we produce in a year. Of course, it's much, but that is to the detriment of our little ones. And when these things happen, it is a very experienced one who leave And the ones from the classroom who don't have much tutelage are the ones that we leave in their hands, our children. And so when these things begin to happen, it means our systems are going down the drain. And so the earlier we look at these things, the better. If policies are not right, people begin to look for an exit. And so for me, the earlier we begin to sit again on the round table, look at our policy directions, look at the enhancement of their salaries and their conditions of service, the better it will be for all of us to keep them and to help train our little ones.
All right. Thank you for those thoughts. Let's get into some other newspapers now. The Ghanaian Times newspaper also re-echoing that. It says, teacher exodus to UK looms, 10,000 certified to work abroad. That's according to the NTC. Let me quickly get into that story. It's on page 12 of the paper. And it says, the Registrar of the National Teaching Council, Dr. Christian Adaipoku, has announced that the high attrition rate in the nation's educational sector poses a great threat towards the future of the nation's education and development. He then appealed to the government and all other stakeholders to put in place the right measures to curb the situation to avoid or avert the looming danger. The registrar stated that, for instance, early this year, a little over 16,000 teachers applied to the Department of Education in the UK for employment, and by June the 13th, 2023, 10,000 of the applicants with Ghana teacher licenses had been certified to work in the UK without any further assessment, that is qualified teacher status test, by the UK government. Dr. Adaipoku announced this when he delivered his welcome address during the first day of a two-day symposium that preceded this year's Ghana Teacher Prize, scheduled to take place on Thursday, that is today, at Takrady in the Western region. So there you have it. That's the tail of the tape. And that is where we are. Yeah. Teachers going in droves. Nurses going in droves. What will happen to our education? What will happen to our health? What will happen to the other professionals? I know so many other professionals who are also leaving. Pharmacists, engineers, accountants. Very soon, if we are not careful,
journalists will follow.
Journalists will follow. Okay. All right. At the opening of CPC, let's promote citizens' interest. President charges Commonwealth parliamentarians. That story also here. So, the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has admonished members of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association to translate the principles of their charter into tangible and measurable outcomes for their citizens in order to guarantee human security. He said the legislature, which was the fulcrum of democracy, had the responsibility of representing and promoting the interest of its citizens. Quoting him, he said, "We have the onerous responsibilities as members of the Commonwealth to translate these principles into tangible and measurable outcomes to guarantee human security, and the legislature in particular, as the fulcrum of democracy, has the responsibility to represent and promote the interest of the citizenry." That is what he had to say. There's also this story. Woman commits suicide over infidelity accusation. And a 19-year-old woman who was accused of infidelity committed suicide at Asin Dompim in the Fosu municipality of the Central Region. Ms. Philippa Obeng, trader and mother of one, decided to end her life following heightened humiliation by residents who alleged she cheated on the husband who had traveled to seek a cure to his health condition. She was openly castigated and branded a prostitute by some residents of Asin Dompim for purportedly confessing to her husband, Pascal, that she had been unfaithful to him. I mean, why do people do this sometimes? Even if this turns out to be true, let's look at the example of Jesus in the Bible and the woman brought before him, who supposedly had been caught in the act, in flagrante delicto, in the very act. And you always ask yourself, so they brought the woman, what happened to the man? You know, it's so interesting. And you take it to the point where you humiliate, you stigmatize, and now she's taken her life. Her blood is on the heads of all these individuals. That's all I'll say to that. I don't know why sometimes we get so judgmental. I know, even if she did, it's wrong, but to go to the point of, you go and check, and even these people who are stigmatizing her, I mean, you will look at them and wonder, are you the ones judging someone else? And look at that, she's taken her life. We have to be really careful. Over to you, Max.
Yeah, sometimes this boils down to the self-confidence of the individuals or individual involved. You, the man who is accused accusing the lady of the infidelity. How pure and holy are you? And does it, and nobody frowns on it. A woman does it, and everybody goes haywire. I have a different view about these things, but the women should also be very confident when some of these things happen. If you know it's not true, why go kill yourself? Even if it is true, so what? It's a choice. It's unfortunate in our world, Black, Ghanaians, Africans. It's not the right thing for a woman, so they say, to go cheat on the man. But for you to have that confidence to go cheat, why won't you have the confidence to face the consequences thereof? And so for me, let's.
So the point is, apparently, per the story, her husband had some health issues and maybe went out. But the same story claims that she had confessed to her husband. That's the claim, that she had done something like this. I mean, that takes some confidence, some effort. And if she had done that, and I don't know whether the husband had leaked that information and now people were stigmatizing her for that. I don't know, but now it's culminated in her death. And I feel this was not necessary. This was not called for. How many of these people walking about, especially even those in leadership, are not living duplicitous lives that we do not know about? Who goes about castigating them and saying that, on moral grounds, they should leave their positions? How many things have we not seen? I don't want to cite specific examples because we have even seen things with some people in power today, ministers doing all kinds of things when they have wives. I don't want to mention so that we know specifically whom I'm talking about, but it's pathetic. And I just feel sad because yesterday I was making this point that indeed every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. In other words, the saint was one doing things that he or she wouldn't have wanted to do. And the sinner can get to the point where they would not do some of those things. I feel really sad about this story, honestly.
Yeah, Ben, so like I was saying, the bottom line is that she had the confidence enough to confess being involved in an act. So how come all of a sudden she broke down completely to the extent of taking her life?
Well, you probably didn't go through the stigmatization she went through. She's basically, look at what the story says. It says that she was openly castigated and branded a prostitute by some residents of Asindopim for purportedly confessing to her husband that she had been unfaithful to him. A police source and some community leaders told the GNA, that's the Ghana News Agency, that Pascal was said to be seeking treatment from acute illness in a nearby community. But, I mean, you do this to someone, people take things differently. Here, anyway, but this is just my thing.
And sometimes for all you know, she's even going to do that to be able to raise maybe some funds to help support the husband, whichever way. It could be anything. But unfortunately, people will not be interested in listening to the reason why that has been done. At the end of the day, she will be chastised, and that's the end result. It's so bad, but let's develop the confidence to face some of these things. And then we should have therapy as quickly as some of these things happen. Unfortunately, the churches sometimes tend to even be worse off than the individual we find in society. They castigate you and they make you look as if you are the devil incarnate. And so let's look for a support system for society for some of these people to help them live. Just because of an incident, somebody has to take his life, her life away, and it's so bad. Let's look for a support system for some of these people.
The Daily Guide newspaper now. MPs.
Now, then to.
Okay, no, go ahead. Go ahead with your thoughts, Miles.
Yeah, about the call of the president for Commonwealth to help and Parliament to help enact very stringent laws to avert terrorism and other things. Terrorism just doesn't happen. It is when people feel that things have decayed in your country and things are not so good. That's why sometimes they want to take advantage. Maybe people within the country would want to look for people to come and help them, or others outside who want to take advantage of the system will go look for people to come and destabilize your economy. So for me, the president saying that they should release the Nigerian president, Mahmoud Bazoum, and all those things that he's been held in custody and all this. The question is what really happens, or what are the causative factors for all these things were happening.
Hello, Max. Hello, Maxwell. Can you hear me? All right, we'll try to work the connection with Maxwell Lukutor and see whether he can reconnect with us so that we can hear the point he was making, the conclusion of that point he was making about the president's comments. But let's get into the Daily Guide newspaper now. MPs should represent citizens' interests. That's according to that story already delved into. Ken denies looting remarks. There's include dialysis on NHIS. The WHO country rep says so. Winneba level 300 student commits suicide. What is going on? Atoforsen begs for settlement in 2.37 million euro case. That's how it's been couched. Anyway, so let's get to the stories. And Ken denies looting remarks. So the Member of Parliament for Asin Central, Kennedy Ohene Ejapong, has clarified a quote, misinterpretation after being heard in a viral video stating that the MPP was looting the country as though there were no tomorrow. The MPP flag bearer aspirant claimed in a statement released Wednesday that the words ascribed to him are a, quote, complete and unfortunate misrepresentation of sentiments he expressed at a fundraising meeting with MPP communicators in Kumasi over the weekend. According to him, he bemoaned at the occasion that the MPP communicators were letting the party down and that every government would have its fair share of corruption issues, especially in 8 years. Well, I watched that tape and I have formed my own opinion. I don't know how it can be any different from what is out there, but that is up to him to determine what he thinks he said. And we shall also deduce what we think we heard. Credible intelligence gathered indicates that the minority leader in Parliament and former Deputy Finance Minister Dr. Cassiel Atuforsen has reached out to the Attorney General hoping to have the criminal action against him settled through a plea bargain. Information gathered by the Daily Guide indicates that Dr. Forsen has, through his lawyers, written to the Attorney General seeking to settle the trial initiated against him for willfully causing financial loss of 2.37 million euros to the state. Those two stories there. And let me just wrap with the one on page 6. So, include dialysis on NHIS, WHO country rep. And the country representative of the World Health Organization, Dr. Francis Chisaka Kasolo, has urged the National Health Insurance Authority to expand its benefits package to cover critical illnesses, including kidney disease. So those are the stories there. And Black Sheriff wins Best International Flow Award. First it was Sarkodie, and now it is Black Sheriff. Ghana doing pretty well at the BETs. And again, it's another gong for us. Quick thoughts?
Yeah, Ben. So, like I was saying, the president should.
We don't have much time, so I would like you to focus on the current issues, if you may.
Oh, okay, all right. Kudos to Black Sheriff for winning the BET awards, and then they should collaborate more and make sure that they put Ghana on the international map always. That is what I would say about Black Sheriff, and I've already spoken about the dialysis issue being considered for the National Health Insurance scheme. I heard leadership of the NTC saying that that's one of the very serious things they will consider as soon as we come to government to make sure that we put the renal issue on the National Health Insurance scheme to help those going through, because the percentage of people going through this is not so much, and we can accommodate to relieve them of the troubles they are going through every day. And for us, we're looking for the welfare of our people, and anything we have to do to make sure they get it through is good for us. Yesterday we had EC had an IPAC meeting with their people, and I had Kweku yesterday night on PM Express touting their goodness, and I cringed. They didn't know what we had to go through on the ground to make sure that the numbers they got. And so I was laughing all through when I heard him saying that nobody complained again about the disenfranchising that they took people through. And so out of the 1,350, they targeted 700, and people about 900,000 over registered. And he thinks that everything was well. We have to struggle the amount of money we have to spend as stakeholders to bring these people from the villages and the communities to the city centers to register. It's nothing that anybody can just wish away. Even then, they said the machines they deployed, they didn't have staff accompanying them to come and help do the registration. The EC directors at the different districts have to go through the system to ensure that they have people that they got in to help the system. And so for me, the EC is just not serious about this whole exercise, and that is the whole governance system we are experiencing from Akufo-Addo. It is high time they begin to sit down again, look at the system, and make sure that they make things work properly for Ghana to take us from the serious troubles that they get us to. You want to go to demonstration. Now demonstration is a daily issue. Yesterday, I heard there was another one against the GFA about the election that is to be held today. Demonstration is becoming a daily affair in Ghana. And when you see these things, it only tells you that there is a lot of misrule in the country, and the leadership of the country do not know exactly what happens in. And about Addison's comment about this demonstration, I saw it first and I didn't want to believe it. I thought it was somebody who just wrote that to ascribe to him. But to see from other portals I was through, I say, whoa, is this what Addison could say? A whole governor of the Bank of Ghana and people are demonstrating about the way things are going, and that is what he could say. When you hear people in governance and the things that they spew out, you can just say that these people are tired and they may have to hand over now and leave governance for those serious-minded people who can take us through to come over.
All right.
It's just
so just to wrap the conversation, we have to.
Nobody will carry a club.
Right. Just to wrap the conversation, we have to go, Maxwell. Right. So the Chronicle newspaper, High Court throws out. Unfortunately, because of the break in transmission, sometimes I cut in because the connection is not direct. So. But just the Chronicle newspaper, this story I wanted to highlight. Criminal gangs target Uber and Bolt drivers, lure them to secluded places, kill and steal their cars. That is a very troubling situation. And some of these have been happening. So criminal gangs are targeting drivers. You don't just have to be a ride-hailing service. They target you, they lure you to secluded places, and then kill you and steal your car. So please beware. Please beware. Be very cautious. I have known people who have been robbed. At least they made away with their lives, but you may not be so lucky. So stay very conscious of what is happening. And then this final story, going back to the Daily Guide. Winneba Level 300 student commits suicide. A Level 300 Information and Communication Technology student of the University of Education, Winneba, Rita Anani, has allegedly committed suicide by hanging in her hostel on Tuesday, October the 3rd, 2023. Reports indicate that the boyfriend of the deceased discovered the body. The lifeless body was discovered with a sponge hung around the neck on a ceiling fan on the South Campus hostel in the early hours of Tuesday. All these stories break my heart. In some 30 seconds, final words, and we can wrap on this. Maxwell?
Yeah, Ben, when these things happen, it only points to the fact that there is a lot of pressure in the whole of the system. People taking their lives. We are not too sure what really caused the do, but it's all pressure that is in the system that is causing us to go through this thing. The robbery of the Uber drivers. If the systems are well, who will go and take a knife and want to go and rob an innocent Uber rider who is also doing that to earn a living? And so it's so unfortunate. Can you take somebody and he says, I'm going to my home is behind this thing, and then you go and leave it on the way? You can't do that. And so it's a terrible situation we find ourselves in. But it all points down to the fact that boys are bred. The system is so tight. Things are so hot. The little we earn, we spend on our TNT, and at the end of the day, nothing is left for you to take care. The system is so tight and so bad. Government should come to our aid and really look at these things to ease the system a little bit for people to breathe. We are able to breathe. I know you, and so they should. All the money is locked in their bedrooms and under their beds. And you go to the bank, you won't get it to borrow. Things are so tight, and I pray and hope that they loosen us a little bit. Yeah,
all right. Maxwell, we have to go. Thank you very much, Maxwell Lukuto, He is the NTC's parliamentary candidate-elect for South Tongue. He joined us for a conversation. Good day, sir. There's also, right before we go, I want to start highlighting this. I got this from some of my optometrist friends, and it's ahead of World Sight Day on the 12th day of October. But there are some plans in the works, and there are free eye screenings going on at the Oglogo Health Center tomorrow, and then on the 12th at Wejagbawe Municipal Hospital. This is in the interest of the general public, so I'm putting it out there. If you find yourself in that catchment area, many people coming up with eye issues and all of that, you can take advantage of that. Oglogo Health Center on the 6th of October 2023, and the Wejagbawe Municipal Hospital on the 12th of October, which actually is World Sight Day. I will make it a point to be announcing this in the course of the show before that day so that those in the catchment area can benefit from it. But before we go into sports, this segment brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They're offering free prostate screening, free female fertility screening. Just reach out to them at any of their branches across Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi Kronomo away here behind the Angel Educational Complex, the Stakrade Anaji State Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and Esiama and Zima. If you'd like to reach them, the call lines are 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But I need a sip of water. It's been a long talk, and I'm going to be drinking Awake Premium Purified Water because water is life, and Awake is treated through a strict purification process to ensure that every bottle on the market refreshes you better. They have the perfect sizes for all purposes as well. 330 ml, 500 ml, 750 ml, or if you're a heavy drinker like me, 1.5 liters. You're sorted for the whole day. Of course, you'd need a little top up. They also have 19-liter jar bottles for homes and offices, ideal for those spaces. So all you must do now is drink Awake Purified Drinking Water wherever you go. So choose a bottle of Awake Purified Drinking Water today and get quality hydration. Awake Purified Drinking Water, remember, it's one for life. For every bottle you buy, an amount is donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center for those who cannot afford that very costly treatment. It's another quality product by Casapreco Company Limited. Reach them for bulk purchases on 0262 351 251. This advert is FDA approved. Up next, sports.